Good evening and salutations, my Jade fans. This was a very mixed bag. It was a mixed bag because there was things that was really interesting. There was suspense. It was kind of giving me a little bit of classic GH, the action, suspense, and stuff like that. And then there was just things where I was just like, okay. And we're gonna start off with Jocelyn and Vaughn because they said something today that I don't know how I forgot this, but Vaughn was going to kind of blame himself. He was like, listen, I should have never put you in here. Like me and Jack should never put you in here. And then they brought up, you should have left. I should have made you leave when we jumped the guard. And I totally forgot about that until they said something. I remember them jumping the guard, them getting the advantage, right? So part of me is kind of like, well, what happened? Like they showed a bunch of other episodes. I don't know what wound up happening. I had a long week, and I see them still in the same room, and I totally forgot about that scene before. So what happened? Vaughn is like I said, blaming himself. And Jocelyn wants to sit there and she still got that fight in her. She's like, listen, we're gonna get out of here. She's like her mother in the sense she's not giving up into her dying breath. So you got that going on. You got Jason coming back and talking to Pascal. You got the room key, and he went inside. He was hanging out for a little bit, and the assassin comes in, and the assassin shoots. The assassin must have had the aim of a stormtrooper because how he missed is like an age limit or something. Because I feel like this guy was a little bit too old to be sitting there trying to like be taking people out, right? First of all, again, his aim is shit. And then, he gets hit in the head with a remote controller, which was funny. I will give him that much. They're fighting and everything like that. And, Jason wound up, shooting him with the gun. So he's running around the different parts or whatever. And he goes to Brit's room. And he finds Brit's note. And this note is so detailed that I'm just like, man, that's pretty convenient. I mean, it's one thing if she just let a note that said, help Jason or whatever, I'm in trouble or something like that, right? She gave this man specific details of where she was going to be. Mind you, when she got caught by Pascal, she could have been in the same room as Jocelyn and Vaughn or somewhere else. But somehow she knew that she was going to be exactly in the room and gave him specific detailed instructions on how to get there. It's like, okay, sure. And of course, he gets there and, he gets inside the room or whatever, and then it cuts. And then Monday's episode, it shows Brit. And I'm kind of just like, really couldn't just afford Brit that one day? Just today? And then it would make sense on Monday? I mean, why even bother to show that point if you're just going to. I'm not even going to bother to try to explain that. Um, so Michael's at the hospital getting blood drawn. And he's asking how Drew's doing and how Willow's doing. And he sits back and he thinks about the time he went to the Port Charles Grill. And funny enough, he winds up meeting Jacinda. See, he sits down and Jacinda's like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to sit there and be able to afford this champagne. I feel like it's going to cost half my rent. Do you normally go to the bars and just like not bother to ask how much drinks are before you decide to buy them? Of course not, because she's cute and she just assumed that a man's gonna sit there and buy it for her. And Michael does just that. He's just that generous. Just like, put your car away, I got you. And of course, she talks about her time where she was traveling, and apparently she was really shitty with Nina's money and had to come back home. And of course, she comes back home. They talk for a little bit, and then she leaves, or he leaves. Fast forward towards the end, she goes and meets her two gal pals, Portia and Nina. And I already wrote it down because I already knew that she was going to ask for money. And she's like, "Yeah, we're friends, and I need some money." Of course, she needs money, and of course, she has the leverage to sit there and do it. So that should be a fun scene. Um, she almost looked a little bit different. I don't know. Maybe they like, changed her hair color or something. At one point, I was like, "Is that even the same actress? Is that the same actress?" I'm assuming that's the same actress, right? Just different hair color or something. Um, so Willow gets guardianship of Scout because that stupid thing that they did where Willow would get Scout and then in an emergency Drew would get Wiley and Amelia because that's so out of pocket. And since Drew got shot, yeah, Alexis is meant to trying to get the court order thrown out. Molly comes back and Molly's like, yeah, Willow got Scout. Now, oddly enough, she wanted Scout to come back to the house. When Molly left for the courts, Christina was like, "You do realize that we got a man downstairs with a sex toy in his mouth, it's tied up. Like, what happens when she gets curious and she finds that?" Apparently, Alexis was just not thinking. Um, but it didn't matter because again, Willow has custody. But it also doesn't matter because now Scout is missing. Felicia came in and Felicia was like, "Yeah, Scout's missing." So, um, yeah. And Cody was not there calling and texting, which Molly was just ignoring because she didn't know what was really going on. And she's upset with Cody because of the whole seduction thing and, you know, man whoring. Now, the conversation between Portia and Nina, I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, there's a point where they both sit there and say, like, everyone else is suspects except for us two. They're like, what are the odds? Even though they both left the hospital. Oh, and she also does sit there and say that, Willow, that she was with Willow when she took a break or whatever. And of course, Nina knows that that was just bullshit, but she's not going to sit there and contradict her argument. I mean, her story. And then Lulu comes in. See, Lulu comes in and she talks to Willow first about Drew and everything off the record and how she's dealing with stuff. And then she asks Portia questions, which Portia pretty much is like, no comment or whatever. And then before she goes, she asks about the animosity between Curtis and Drew. She sat there and looked at her like, yeah, no comment. So me and her had a meeting. You can get the hell up out of here. And she wasn't leaving. And of course, there's a knock on the door. They think it's Lulu. And it's, again, their old gal pal, Jacinda. Um, Now, Jack got tired of Khaled insubordination and pretty much like, yeah, you being relocated somewhere. I don't know, somewhere really far away. And Khaled was like, yeah, it's not going to sit there and stop your screw up. Those agents are missing and anything that happens is pretty much on you. Jack pretty much is like, yeah, you know what? Tell your story walking, get the F up out of here. So she leaves. And apparently Jack calls Anna, and Anna's like, what's going on with the missing agents? Like, Jack is like, hey, listen, I got this under control. Don't worry about it. I have invested interest in Jocelyn. And of course, Anna keeps hammering Ray, like, you put her in a situation. But Jack is like, don't you got like two things going on at once? You have Drew, you have the judge. Like, aren't you kind of busy enough without Cynthia trying to get up in my business? They talk a little bit more, and then they leave. And then Colette comes back and she tries to open the safe, and it's there's no convo. Like, I mean, the convo doesn't work. But then the guy asks, like, look in the desk, look this way, look that way. Kylie's like, yo, listen, I gotta go. I'm supposed to be on a plane somewhere. Like, I can't get caught. Now, I was sitting there thinking that too. I was like, girl, why are you still here? Also, how did you just get back in that room? Like, anybody could just walk into his room at any point in time? Like, what is going on? Like, how secure is this place? Didn't matter because the minute that she left, well, as she was about to walk out the door, Jack was like, all right, so you either going to go to a black site or you going to tell me who you're working for? Yeah, okay. Like, bro, like, sis, you still going to that black site? He just giving you an option of like maybe being a little bit lenient, maybe if he feels generous. I have a feeling they're going to try to fight for the gun, and then Colette's going to be off. It'd be a really cool time to sit there and bring back Alex. I mean, hell, we didn't see a body. We didn't see a body. Yes, you were in the water. We didn't see a body. It's not the first time that Alex faked her death. I'm just saying. Um, but anyway, at some point, Michael talks to Lulu, and it's like, "Yo, listen, I gotta sit there and find this Gisette woman." Because at first I was like, it didn't really make a lot of sense. Like him just like randomly meeting her and just being like nice and buying her drinks and listening to her stories and stuff like that. And I'm just like at first I thought he was working her, but he didn't even know who she was until like he was looking on his phone and found the body shop picture. I was kind of wondering where I was going. Another scene I was wondering where I was going, or it just seemed like, oh, before I even get to that, Pascal made a threat, right, to Jocelyn and Vaughn. And then, like, maybe a few minutes later, he's like, oh, you got good news. You're still useful. It's like, oh, that's convenient because I'm just like, in any other scenario, those two would have been dead like a long time ago. But whatever. Um, was the Sunny and Diane um conversation, because ultimately Sunny wanted info. At first, he wanted info on the judge, and then he wanted info on Sitwell. And the thing with Diane is like Sitwell is also our client, so we can't. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't even do that. And so I'm kind of just like, and all Diane says was what I think Drew said. But now, because the judge is dead, they're going to look into her financial records and they're going to see that $1 million. And the case is going to be overturned. So, like, there's not really much. And of course, once again, Sunday blames Sitwell for the judge's murder. But I kind of was just like, is there really a point of this scene? Like, that's what I'm sitting there saying. Like, there's a couple of times I'm just like some scenes just seem like they were just there for padding. Like Sunny and Diane's scene seemed like they was there for padding. Do, 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 do. I feel like that's about it for the most part. Like I said, this was definitely a mixed bag. It was enjoyable for the most part. Anything that I missed, write in the comment section below. I've been sitting there saying some stuff in my other videos about like me cutting down on streaming or whatever, and it's just gonna be a status quo. I think what it just really came down to was just I had a long week, I had a long work week, and it just I don't know, just tired the shit out of me. And I don't know, I felt like I just needed a break or whatever, but I'm off tomorrow. So as far as the scheduling and stuff like that for streams, it's gonna be just, you know, the usual Monday through Friday, and like the occasional day off or whatever, just to rest or whatever. But yeah, all the other stuff I listened to this saying before. Yeah, that's like I said. I think I just had like a long week, a long work week, and I was just tired of shit. Um, and I needed a break. I definitely needed a break yesterday. But anyway, I feel back to normal, back to my old self. So yeah, stream tonight, usual time. You know how we'll do. We'll talk about all the soaps. I tried to do like 4 soap operas yesterday, and granted, I was able to do it. And even if Beyond the Gates would have been on, I would be able to do that. Um, so I mean, like technically, I could do that, but like I just feel like, I mean, especially yesterday, it's like the numbers just did not warrant doing all of that. Um, But I still do watch all the soaps. So if people want to come in and talk about YNR, B&B, Beyond the Gates, the usual. It's yeah, it was weird. So like I came back and I had like a decent day today, and I was like, I just couldn't picture myself just like not streaming. Like as weird as that sound, yeah, there's times I do have certain issues with certain things when I'm streaming, but like I have a lot of fun. So I always feel like the good outweighs the bad. So anyway, with that being said, if I missed anything, write in the comment section below. Come to the live stream tonight, usual time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and yeah, I'll see y'all tonight.